She looked up his file. He had a wife and a daughter at home.
Yo.
I released the hounds after that. Next step, online immigration reporting form.
Oh my God. Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of That Just Happened. I'm your host, Vaughn.
And Sean.
And today we are going to be talking about revenge. And we are joined by our special guest today, our very first guest, singer, songwriter, dancer, model, entrepreneur, founder of The Streets, Woosky.
That's your role, boo. What's up, everybody?
So, Woosky, do you have any good revenge stories?
There's one in particular that I'm thinking about.
Oh, okay, we'll get into that a little bit later.
Yeah,
Should we save it?
We'll save it.
Stepdad cheats on my mom, so we get revenge. So I moved in with my mom after her marriage of 25 years with my biological dad was ended. He was a manipulative asshole, but that's another story. Shortly after the divorce, my mom introduced me to her boyfriend at the time, Chris. Now, my mom worked as a correctional officer at the county jail. The boyfriend was a former inmate. He was in for a DUI. That should have been the first red flag. But my mom was
ignoring them.
Literally. My mom was grieving a long marriage, and I didn't want to push the subject. And Chris seemed to make her happy, and that was enough for me. Me, my brother, and sister all moved in with my mom and Chris, and we seemed to get along okay. Chris and I bonded a bit over our love of video games, and that seemed well. This is until 2017. Due to Chris's prior DUI, he had to go in regularly for probationary checkups at the courthouse. One day he didn't return, and we got a little worried. We then received a phone call from him from Texas. Turns out he arrived at the courthouse that day, and he was jumped by the FBI. His family from Texas was implicated on a number of gang and drug-related crimes, and due to a situation where he was in a vehicle during a drug handoff, he was on the hook as well. He ended up agreeing to testify against his family members in exchange for a shorter sentence and was allowed to be out of prison before the trial.
This is wild.
My mom was distraught, and over the course of many phone calls over a year, they worked out their marriage plans when he returned. He was a store owner at the Dairy Queen that allowed him to come back as well, and he began the manager position. Soon after, the drinking started. Now, obviously, because of his DUI, Chris was no stranger to drinking. He began to drink more and more to the point where he was consuming half of a 20-pack of beer a day. Chris was a mean drunk. He regularly started fights when he was wasted, and although they never got physical, he wasn't exactly kind with his words. My mom enabled his behavior for several years, saying that the stress was getting to him from work and from the upcoming trial. Finally, after several years, my mom had enough. Chris came home extremely drunk one night, and my mom confronted him. She asked if he'd been drinking, and when he didn't deny it, she kicked him out. He went to go live with a friend temporarily, and the next morning, my mom asked us to help gather a few of his essentials so he didn't have to re-enter the home until he was sober. While we were gathering his things, we heard a knock at the front door. We opened it to find Betty, one of Chris's coworkers and someone I went to high school with.
The good hair.
Shit, that was her. She told my mom she had something important to share. After sitting my mom down and telling her not to share what the information was, Betty told my mom how Chris was cheating on my mom with Darla, how he regularly had Darla perform sexual acts in and around his workplace, and how Betty had caught them, and Chris told her that if she ever told my mom, he would fire her since he was the store manager. And finally, how Darla was pregnant. My mom was angry.
Not pregnant. It's always they're pregnant. Yeah.
It's like a movie.
I would watch this. They need to make this. I would watch this.
Sounds like a movie.
It's like a Netflix series, right?
Well, my mom was angry after the initial shock wore off, and she told us to round up all of Chris's things and dump it outside. So we took it and threw it in the alley behind our house. Chris had no reason or ability to return to the house, and since the house was only rented, and in the meantime, my mom called and confronted him. He confessed to the affair and that he was happy with Darla and that she was pregnant because he meant to finally have a child of his own because my mom refused to have more kids. And that us three were massive strains on her body and she wouldn't survive any more kids. He refused to apologize for his actions, and my mom arranged for him to collect his items in the alleyway with a police officer present, and he left our lives. Now this is where the revenge takes place.
Oh, that wasn't it.
That was just the backstory. That was the villain setup. So my mom clearly wanted to dust her hands off him and move on, but my brother, sister, and I had other ideas. First, we called his workplace. Dairy Queen operates as an independently owned franchise, and the owner of the branch owns several branches in the area. He was also a good friend, and we informed him of the sexual acts being performed on the premises. And he went through the processes of getting Chris booted from his position and barred him from any of the branches in the area. And funny enough, Betty got his position after he left. Chris no longer had a job or a place to live, so he went with Darla in town about an hour away. We found out he started working at another Dairy Queen in that town and informed the owner of that location and the situation. It took a bit longer, but then he eventually lost that job too.
Damn, they was on a mission.
They're not playing with him.
No.
Soon after, Chris began driving around our neighborhood, seemingly stalking my mom and our family because of his job loss. Due to the whole situation in Texas, he never had his probation lifted for his DUI. Thus, he did not have a license and never had to drive when he lived with us.
So they called the cops.
Yeah, so clearly he was driving around by himself when he shouldn't be. We contacted the police and informed them about Darla's vehicle in our neighborhood and that we believe Chris was driving it without a license. We told them to pull over the vehicle next time they see it, as he would most likely be seen driving it again. A few weeks later, we were told that Chris was indeed pulled over and sent back to jail for driving without a license while intoxicated.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, he was drinking too. That's about right. He had no job. Wow, how he buy the liquor though?
Yeah, right? Oh my God. The police did a search of his home he was staying at and found several guns at the premises. Since he was a felon, he wasn't legally allowed to have any weapons, meaning there was more jail time tacked on. And by the time his jail time had finished, it was time for him to be sent back to incarceration in Texas for the trial.
He never go see his kid.
Well, that's the thing. His son was born while he was in prison. Darla realized that Chris wouldn't ask Chris was and cut ties with him while he was in prison. So during his prison time, Chris started sending tons of letters to my mom saying how sorry he was, begging her to take him back, ranting about how it wasn't his fault, but my mom burnt every letter. That's when they realized. This is the last part. Chris eventually got out of prison some years ago and now lives in Kansas, struggling and fighting child support, which Darla sued him for. My mom has a new boyfriend who treats her right and cares a lot more than Chris ever did. My brother and sister moved out, but I still live with my mom, assisting her with the newly purchased home that we've been renovating. Life's looking okay, and I was reminded of this by a coworker about cheaters, and I thought to post it here for others to enjoy.
That was a Netflix.
That was a whole.
That was a movie. Yeah, people live some lives.
I mean, he deserved it. I'm so glad that they were relentless.
They teamed up on him. They were like, yeah.
I mean, I would too. I would too.
If someone did that to my mom, I would do the same thing.
Yeah. If someone did that to anybody that I cared about,
honestly.
I'd be like, yeah, no.
Do you guys have any personal, vengeful moments? Kind of.
I think Woosky had one for us, didn't she?
I did. So, there's this friend that I had, right? Well, there's this friend that I had. Her ex was absolute fucking trash.
Ooh.
Garbage of a man.
Aren't they always?
And they were together for 5 years.
Mm.
At some point during the relationship, she bought him a whole ass motorcycle. Spent him back on this guy. I don't know, probably $5K or something like that.
Either that's a motorcycle. That's a big gift.
5K,
yeah.
People just out here buying guys a whole ass bike. What? It was one of those situationships where they were together but not actually together. And then he was he kind of broke the news to her that he was with someone else after lying and saying that he didn't want to be with anybody else, but then went all the way overseas and
and then got a girlfriend.
Yeah, it was some crazy shit. Fast forward, she still had his bike because he was away. And so, she had 2 bikes. She had her own, and then she still had his bike because they were still kind of in a thing. But then he went off with this other bitch.
She blew the bike up or something?
So then he was like, "Yeah, well, if you don't give me my bike, I'm just gonna be yeah, it's stolen." The bike.
That's
that she
wild.
Bought, all because he was just kind of petty because she didn't want him anymore. She took the bike and she said, "Okay, well, I'm gonna give you back your bike." You didn't say how it had to come back. So she went and bikes take regular gas. She put fucking diesel in the tank.
Man.
She put eggs and put eggs
some
all
sugar
in the seat
something, yeah.
and just all of this bad food and stuff in
for the
seat
bike
so that it would just fuck up the whole entire bike and she pulled up to the house and just chucked the keys at the door and left.
Yeah.
Poor bike.
Crazy.
Yeah, right?
I know the bike deserved better, to be honest.
All right, well, speaking of petty stories, I feel like Sean has a petty story for us too.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, it's really petty. Are you guys ready for it? So the title is, I purposely farted in front of a guy at the gym because he wouldn't take no for an answer. So a few things. I go to the gym to work out and decompress. I don't see it as a place to be social. I wear large over-ear headphones. I was at the gym and just finished one of my sets for deadlifts when a guy walks over. This is something I'm used to, despite how much I dislike it. But he starts talking to me and I'm able to pick up he's flirting. I'm polite and waiting for the proper moment to end the conversation. When he asks for my number, I decline. He keeps talking and going into the usual shtick of, why not? And come on,
Dude.
At that point, I'm very uncomfortable and also annoyed because of my workout timer has already gone off and it's past time for me to start my next set. I mean, I think as people admit that we
He's ruining our set.
Yeah, people do that. In
you
the
know,
gym, you know?
like, I think as, I'm sure we all go to the gym and it is kind of annoying when someone ruins because in our head, we have number of seconds we rest between sets. I put on my big girl pants and tell him he's making me uncomfortable and I just want to finish my workout. Does he leave? No. He keeps talking now, going on about how he didn't mean it like that and he's not a bad guy.
Dude.
No actual apology to be found. Now, during this entire interaction, I've had to fart. I was being polite and holding it in until he left, but seeing as he's not I think, well, I know a way to get him to leave. As he's still talking, I let it go.
Just in the mid
I
conversation.
hope that it was a ripper. Like,
I know,
once you hear,
No. It's silent, but rather deadly.
oh god,
Oh my god.
It only takes about 2 seconds for him to catch a whiff. He stops talking. So he stops talking, and the face he makes is too much that I have to bite my lip to stop laughing. That's when he gives me a look of, are you fucking serious?
Yeah, because she's probably just looking at him like just
And
smiling.
he finally takes leave. And I'm left alone to finish my workout.
All right, good for her though.
Dear God.
Yeah.
that's one way to get him to shut up. He's just freaking choked on
I
the
think
bad air.
that is a brave move.
Yeah, you gotta be careful with
You
that.
gotta
She
be
just
really
shit on
brave.
herself.
Yeah, she was deadly too, right?
Vaughn, I know you got something petty up your sleeve.
Okay.
Share with the class, please.
All right, this is not something that I did, but someone got revenge for me, like when I was in university. So when I was in university, I had this. I had taken a class that was just a filler class. It was improvisation, and I was like,
Improv class?
yeah, I was like,
where you act.
you act, yeah. And I was like, it'd be fun. It's an easy A. And for some reason, the professor just did not like me. I don't know why. Like anything that I did wasn't like good enough or whatever. And I was like, I don't care. I just need to show up. It was at 8 a.m. Show up, do my thing, and get a good grade. But he would always just find ways to make me lose points in the class. And how do you lose points in an improv class? We don't have anything to do.
He's just a hater.
So one of our final assignments was we had to go to this improv show, like on our own, go to the show. You take a photo to prove you were there, like say that you were there, and then you show them the next day, and that was going to be counted for like part of your final grade. Go to the show, have a good time, go the next day and show him the picture of the cast on stage, and was like, oh, I went there and I got an F. And I was like, why do I get an F? And he was like, because you're not in the photo. And I'm like, well, you didn't say we had to be in the photo. This is me. It's on my phone. This is the timestamp. And he was like, no, like you're not in it. You could have got someone to send this to you. I'm like, if we look at like the analytics of the phone, like it was taken from this one, he didn't care. Got an F and
Not an
basically
improv class over this bull.
over some bullshit. So I told my best friend that, and she was not having it. So she was like, oh no, he ain't getting away with this. She was like, give me your syllabus. Pull up the syllabus. She goes in, finds out. She's one of those people, you give her a little bit of information, she can find out where you live. She's
She Nancy
detected.
Drew.
Yeah, basically. So and
Shout out to her.
he had just had a baby and everything. So she had his phone number, so she would send like all of these post his number on all these like forums for like gay men and like all this stuff like, oh, I'm looking for this, like I'm not happy in my marriage. So like gay men would be contacting him and stuff. She ended up finding out where he lived and was like send stuff to his house, like I don't know, just like random shit. But also like she was harassing this man, honestly. But like she would like call his wife and be like, he's cheating with me, like just all this stuff. So I don't know what ended up happening because obviously like I felt like no, the class was over, but at the same time like yeah. So that was the revenge that my friend got on my behalf because I did not deserve that.
All right, so we have a new segment today. We're gonna do the Whisper Challenge. So me and Vaughn we're gonna go against each other. Woozy's gonna whisper whatever she has, and we'll see what happens. Can you hear it?
Okay, ready? Labradoodle.
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 Labatoo.
Labradoodle.
Labradoodle.
Labradoodle. Okay.
What the hell is a labradoodle?
Bondi Beach.
Bugs, bitch.
Bondi Beach.
Bunny Beach.
Bondi
Buggy
Beach.
Beach. Is that not, am I close?
Bondi.
Money.
Bondi. Bondi.
Barney.
Bondi.
Bunny.
Bondi.
I'm saying it. I'm saying what you're saying.
Bondi.
Body.
It's hard. Forget about it.
Forget about it. Ah!
Okay.
It was the attitude.
Last one. Pumpkin spice latte.
What?
Pumpkin spice latte.
I don't even want to say what I think you're saying. My pussy smells like London. What'd you say? Is that not what you said?
No, oh my god, I'm stitches. Somebody call a medic. Pumpkin spice latte.
My
Pumpkin spice latte.
pumpkin spice latte.
You hear me?
What?
Okay.
Now
okay,
it's Sean's turn.
All right. It's Sean's turn. Are you ready? Ready? Benedict Cumberbatch.
What the fuck? Let's say it again.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
What?
Benedict
Pickle?
Cumberbatch.
Close.
Pickle Copper Patch?
One more time. Benedict Cumberbatch. It's the
Billie Jean Versace. No? Can you do one more time? One more time?
Okay. Benedict Cumberbatch.
Pickles on pepper.
Whoa.
I
don't know.
Okay, no. 2. Appletini.
My booty. No? We can't say that again?
Appletini.
My pussy?
You know what I'm saying, just play with me. Appletini.
Apple seed.
Appletini.
Apple tits? I'm sorry, I do. One more time?
Appletini.
Say it again.
Appletini.
Apple teeny.
Ah!
Good job. Shamalama ding dong.
Okay, one more time.
He's not gonna get this one.
Shut up. Shamalama ding dong.
Can you say slower?
Shama lama ding dong.
Oh my god. I'm not sure if I can say this.
Oh my god, what do you think?
Say it again.
Shama lama ding dong.
Suck my lemon TikTok?
Lemon TikTok.
What do you mean? Okay. You can do this. I believe in you. You can do it. Shama lama ding dong.
I gotta skip on that.
Salted peanuts.
Salty penis.
I knew that was gonna come.
Back up a minute. Say it?
Salted peanuts.
Say it again.
Salted peanuts.
Salty peanuts?
Salted peanuts.
Saltine peanuts?
Close.
So close. Salted peanuts.
Saltine peanuts.
All right, so I have another one for you guys. This one is actually shorter than my last one. This is short and sour, I was saying. Okay.
Short and sour.
Yeah.
All right.
Sour.
My college roommate used to steal from me. He drank my pee.
He
Okay.
drank it. What?
Yeah.
He drank his.
You're bullshit. No, really?
that's
Is that what it
He
said?
Yeah.
drank. Did I hear correctly?
So back in college, I was roommates with a guy in my same group of friends. He came from a rich background and had a very entitled attitude. Over a couple years that we were roommates, he stole food, weed, beer, and possibly money from me and our other roommates. He used to go out, get drunk, come home, and raid the fridge in the middle of the night. Our last semester, our group of friends went to a house party where he got drunk and was being his usual douchebag self. He got in a verbal argument with my girlfriend and we ended up leaving the party. Back in my apartment, I had 2 red stripes left. I drank one but knew I would wake up the next day and the other one would be gone. I carefully opened the bottle without bending the cap too much and poured 3/4 of beer down the kitchen drain. And I proceeded to empty my bladder until I refilled the red stripe bottle. Put the cap back on and put the bottle back in the fridge and went to bed. Next morning, there was an empty bottle next to the one I'd thrown out a few hours before. So
what a
drank my
warrior.
beer. Yeah, right?
What a man.
Man, what a man, what a man, what a mighty trash man.
Do y'all think this revenge is proper?
I think having a roommate that eats your shit, steals your shit, that's so...
I had a
piss you
roommate like
off,
that
right?
before. Yeah.
He never gonna know that he drank the pee though. Did he
No.
not? Was he? I wonder
If you're
if
that
he
drunk-
sat there and was like, "Honesty's weird." But let me
He's
just
like,
drink it
it's the only
anyway."
one left in the fridge though, and it's not mine. It make it taste better. Yeah.
Maybe he was so drunk he couldn't taste it.
That's what I'm saying.
right?
Yeah.
'Cause there's no way you would like taste it and be like,
It's
not- it's not too bad
Just thought
anyway.
about it. Yeah.
you know?
I mean, he kind of does.
He deserved that. I feel like he's stealing
kinda
money and
He's
everything
just
else.
taking everything with no regard for their livelihood. Like,
What about you? I know you got a petty story. I feel like you've done something petty before.
I do have a pretty good story.
Okay.
I was
Pretty comfortable.
because you've been a little too quiet. Not
Yeah,
bothered, just
yeah,
in
let's
your
hear this,
seat.
yeah.
When I was in middle school, I was overweight. I had diabetes when I was in middle school. And I used to get bullied for it, for being overweight. And there's this one girl that was she was the worst. She was the meanest, the baddest one. And
I used to bullies. I hate a bully.
yeah, but after I had to move schools because it was getting too hard to go to that school.
It was that bad.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. It was, I think, like 2 years ago, winter, like pretty much how I look now. I met her. It
You
was
like ran into
Oh my
her.
god.
yeah. Obviously, she didn't recognize who I was. She had no idea.
But you knew who she was.
You never forget.
Never forget.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
never forget,
I
right?
got a face.
So I was like, oh shit, it's her. And then I didn't say anything. And then I realized that she was like trying to hit on me, right?
Wow.
And I was like, this is
how
true
the
story.
tables have turned.
And she was like, what's your name? And I was like, Michael. Like, I didn't say my real name. I was just trying to ride with it as long as I can. And then, she was like talking to me, and then I just couldn't help it but tell her, like, oh, I'm Sean.
Up from back in the day.
Yeah, the fat guy. Yeah. And then she was like, Sean? I don't remember. Because it was
Of course, she didn't fucking remember.
And I showed her the picture, and she was like she just, the face that she made, it was like, what the fuck, right?
Yeah.
And then I told her, I was like, yeah, I used to fucking make fun of me all the time. You don't remember? And then she was like, oh, like, I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. What is she going to say at that point? But I was
That wasn't
like,
me.
I could have been petty, actually petty, and then like broke her heart or done that. But I just said thank you. Because it's thanks to her bullying I was able to lose weight. So I just said thank you and I just left.
She helped you glow up. Yeah. So
This is actually a true story.
sometimes the best revenge is no revenge.
Yeah, I think that's my biggest revenge. It's not really revenge, but yeah.
Revenge body.
I guess so, yeah. I guess so, but it's a true story. I don't know, but I think if I did that, if I decided to break her heart, then she will go ahead and break 50 guys' hearts.
Yeah.
And those
It
50 guys'
becomes a
hearts are
chain
gonna break
reaction.
like
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
girls' hearts. And it's like a cycle.
You're just a nice person.
I do think the best revenge sometimes is just your own success. You know what I mean?
That's the
Them
best
having
thing.
to see
That's the best
you,
thing.
but also not having access to you at the same time. Like
Yeah.
people hate when they don't have access to your energy. anymore.
Literally, they just switch up.
Should we start with the story?
Yes.
Let's
guys
go.
ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
I blew up a romance scammer's life. This one is fresh and still unfolding, but it's already hit an explosive level. I'm a woman in my 30s with a reasonably good corporate job in a field with lots of room for growth, and I'm recently back into dating scene after a decade. I'm kind of would be a 10 if she lost 30 pounds looking girl.
Oh. Was that we're like, oh.
Beautiful face, if a bit chubby. But I never have issues getting a date. I'm not well off, but I'm stable and have a bit of spending money. I live in a large multicultural city and my ex was an immigrant, so I'm open to dating people of any origin. What happened? A few weeks ago, I met a very charming man from a Latin American country only a couple years younger than me. Seemed very sweet, cuddly, intelligent, family-oriented, emotionally available, educated, and in a good profession back home in his country, and had a lot in common with me. Chemistry seemed amazing inside and outside the bedroom. He was,
Speechless.
he was honest that he was in my country on a tourist visa, but hoping to stay.
Oh.
I made it clear I wouldn't be able to help him with that, but we'd have a fun summer fling while he was here. If he managed to stay or come back, only then would we consider a real relationship. Then the other shoe dropped. A couple weeks and 4 dates in, during a text conversation about my work, he asked me to be his sugar mommy.
Just straight up.
Yeah. I initially laughed and assumed it was a joke. He kept pushing it and clearly said it wasn't. Of course, feeling insulted by this, I went off on him. He maintained it as a serious ask until I hit a nerve with my complaints about how embarrassed he should be to ask me that. Then he got angry and insulted me for thinking he was serious about it. No apology for being hurtful to me.
He was dead serious.
He
He
was
was
dead
dead
serious. When a guy pushes something, he ain't playing.
Yeah. He said,
Obviously, what I did next was take screenshots and cry about it to my closest friends. So I guess she really liked him, huh? Yes. I was hurt that I was fooled into thinking he liked me and that he thought I needed to pay for a man. My friends started the fuse on what happened next. One of my friends started snooping more on his online presence. Together, we found about 6 different Instagram accounts that were him using different
Not
variations
6.
of his name and different photos of himself
It
all
wasn't
uploaded
one.
in
It wasn't
baskets.
2. It was 6.
6.
So on Facebook, a similar pattern, all very scammy and suspicious looking. He's been foolish enough on one of his profiles though to follow and tag the employer that he was working for illegally.
Nancy Drew.
Illegally on his tourist visa in my country. So I contacted another close friend in a local law enforcement agency that works with immigration.
Oh, she not playing.
Oh, she was
She
playing.
contacted
she's not playing.
immigration.
She's a lawyer,
Yeah.
like the corporate job.
Yeah.
She looked up his file. He had a wife and a daughter at home.
Yo.
I released the hounds after that.
Not him needing money.
The friend who helped me investigate online made several group chats on multiple platforms with all of his family, immediate and extended, and friends. She released all of the screenshots as well as a rant about how safe it was. As they started blocking her, she added more people.
She said, that's all
I
right.
found his sister's phone number. She sent her messages on there too. Everyone he knows, including his wife, know he's unfaithful and trying to take advantage of women.
You a family man now, sir.
30 minutes after the online bombardment started, I got a rude message from him about how I should be smart enough to know he was joking and he doesn't need to sell himself. I didn't reply. Next step, online immigration reporting form with all the
Oh my God.
God, they're really
Yeah.
oh man, they're
He said,
These girls
first
don't
the
play with the
family,
law. Yeah.
Then immigration.
Yeah.
work info, employer name and address, his home address, full name, DOB, photos, screenshots admitting to working. Usually these reports take months to be reviewed if at all, but I gave him the file number to my law enforcement friend.
She got some pull.
She got some,
She
yeah,
said,
she got some
zip,
connection.
zip.
2 days later, law enforcement officers visited him at home. They found him with a phone number that was issued to a local resident. All his roommates also had numbers issued to the same person, a direct link to the employer. He received a caution for trying to scam me, a no contact order, and a flag on his immigration file that, based on his country of origin, will likely mean he can never return, as well as a strict warning to not work without authorization. His employer received a visit next. They found significant proof that they've been employing him illegally, as well as multiple other people. Their investigation is still ongoing, but so far they are likely to receive tens of thousands in fines or possible jail time. The guy isn't getting deported because the government would have to pay for it, and proceedings take longer than his remaining visa time. But he's now upgraded from a flagged file to a multi-year ban on re-entry to my country.
Oh my God.
He's gonna have to go home to his family and never come back.
Yeah, I was like, I would just leave at that point.
But
Like,
he has
my
no
life-
family when he gets home, though.
That's true.
He will really
Go somewhere. Go somewhere.
Well, he did this himself, right?
Yeah, he deserves this.
If he bothers me again, though, he will be deported as well. Hope he enjoys going back to his angry wife and the ridicule from everyone he knows. See ya again, never.
How you got a whole wife and kids at home, and you're trying to like
Scam this one.
You're trying to scam somebody in another country. Are you not embarrassed?
You know, I'm
Not
embarrassed.
embarrassed. Like you need clearly you're not doing the work as a man to provide for your family back
He
home.
thought he was. He was
So-
like, when I go to work, that's my money, and then this money from this lady is gonna be for the family.
That's just no dignity, right?
Literally.
No,
Just trying to live off
God.
of somebody and scamming and cheating. It never works out.
And the gaslighting.
That too.
Sheesh.
So do do you guys believe in karma?
Oh yeah, 100%.
think we
I
all
do.
Everything is connected.
Yeah.
I think we all believe in karma.
Yeah.
100%.
It's real shit. Like if you do bad shit happen to you. All right, thank you so much for watching, and Woosky, thank you so much for coming today. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for being here, Woos.
Our first special guest.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for Cafe Invited for inviting us here to use this nice, spacious place.
I feel so invited.
Corner of it. But thank you so much for watching again. Please subscribe, like, comment, and share with your friends, and press that notification bell. And all of our socials will be in
Yes.
the description box below. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Also, if you have revenge stories, put them in the comments.